Soulful means something that's heartfelt, deep and profound. To journey means to travel from one place to another. This show is about deep and heartfelt discussions about where we are, where we're headed, and where we've been. It's a place where we highlight memorable moments we've had. This show is about everything and everyone that is good for the soul.
Greetings, all of my, oh my gosh, my soul sisters, my soul brothers, all of you. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Venus Jones. I am a poet, author, educator. I love courageous conversations. And right now I'm going to do a book review. But before that, I want to just, take a moment, like we always do, and just take a deep breath. And if you don't mind, just focusing with me on your breath. So let's do that together. And feel yourself breathing in and feel yourself breathing out without trying to control your pattern of breathing. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. Notice how each breath is different from the next. It's the same with life, ever changing and ever evolving. And whatever is going through your mind right now, you can't let it slip away. And just for this moment, we can come back to harmony. Because you are safe, you are accepted, you are forgiven, and you are loved. Thank you for taking a deep breath with me. Let's take one more. Yeah, it's been a day. Long one for me. I don't know about you, but we're here, and I'm shaking the maracas. All right, so what I want to do right now is I want to, to say that this book that I'm going to share with you, I was some you may know, or you may have not know, but I just lost my the mother that raised me, Rose, and she was one of the reasons why I wrote my book, She Rose. And on my trip home, before I was going home, I was reading this book, and it just seemed like such a divine sin because it's called Black Girl Call Home. And I was reading it, and I was just thinking about how timely it was to be reading a book like this. What I want to tell you about this book, when I was in Mendocino, California, and I was there just on vacation. Steve and I were celebrating 21 years, and we were there just celebrating and just having a little bit of a vacation. So I walk into this bookstore, and the first thing I see when I get back to the section where I see poetry was this image. And I was like, of course, the image just it like drew me in. Like, I was like, okay, that's a me. And this is the power of images, poets, when we are trying to connect with people, our core audience. You have to think about how can you help that person see that this is for them. And just the image alone just took me back. It really, really took me back to when I was a little girl. I used to have beads in my hair, and I would love to get beads in my hair. But before the beads, when we couldn't afford to get the beads or the braids, it was like barrettes. It was barrettes, and the barrettes were always colorful. And I remember going to my aunt slash sister's house next door, big sister Barbara. Okay. And sometimes I would get my hair braided by my cousin, Dee Dee, or a friend. And it was just getting your hair braided was just a thing, right? So the first thing she does is in this book, she says it begins with, again, growing up. This is also like a growing up in the 80s, right? So she starts talking about bald-headed Cabbage Patch, ain't got no hair in the back. Bald-headed Skittle Diddle, ain't got no hair in the middle. So the younger people may not even know what a Cabbage Patch is, but we had these Cabbage Patch dolls. Right? There's these Cabbage Patch dolls that I wish I had a picture of. Actually, I did, but I think I moved it. But anyway, because even my little cousin, Yolanda, who I've had on the show, she had I remember there's a picture of her and her brother and this doll, and it always looked like they're a couple because she's holding this baby down, and it looked like it's her and the baby, and he's dressed up like a little old man too with it. And I just love that picture. I'll have to show it to y'all later. But the point is that this book took me all the way back to Cabbage Patch dolls, and it starts though with a poem about it's called Mama's Has a Hair Salon in the Kitchen. And the last line, I took a workshop once called Endings Talk. And I'm going to read it to you just because. Care Bears were the worst. Who said that? I don't even know who that is. Make sure you type your name in the chat because sometimes I don't know where you come because we're broadcasting in different places. But let me say that this was a poem that definitely spoke to me and any young Black girl who grew up during this time. Wash barrettes, twists, crisscross, braids, beads, cornrows, wooden brush, edges, silk scarf, nappy kitchen, beady beads, 4C coil, ouch, super grow, straighten, burn, breakage, drip dry, split, crunch, grow, cut, for a yaki, bundle, bleach, chop, short, dye, curl, slick, toothbrush, damage, afro, roller set, shrinking, ugly, long, thin, thinning, thinner, weave, heat, press, hot comb, no edges, toothbrush, nigga naps, sheen, spritz, dryer, hold your head still, deep conditioning, pretty, bleach, Vaseline, shrunk, burn, breakage, don't make me pop you, scalp, fine, just for me, poison, natural, pressed, dry, damage, edges, trim, be still, hold your ear. Let me tell you why I felt like hold your ear was so important, like the way she chose to end this list poem, because this is, for those who don't know a lot about poetry, this is a considered like a list poem, and the way she chose to say hold your ear at the end is just like, I was thinking, oh my gosh, just it takes you back to like, you have to hold your ear. The reason why you have to hold your ear is because back in the day they would have like these pressing combs, and it would just like, it was just classic. Most people always got, if you was a young Black girl, you always got your ear burned. It was always going to be a little scab if you didn't hold your ear. But this, to say this piece out loud again, Jasmine, man, like myself, comes from the spoken word tradition. And a lot of these poems are to be said out loud. But when you say it out loud, I'm almost getting a little teary-eyed because it's like, the damage, the repair, the constant referring back to breakage and things like that, like and the things that you were said to, or things that refer to hair, but it's also a metaphor for so much for the culture. And I just thought that this was very clever. And this was just the beginning, but there's so many. I have never read, well, let's just say it's been a long time since I've read a book almost the whole way through. And I was like, little surprised because I, maybe also because of what I was going through, but I'm going to tell you some other pieces that really spoke to me. And other pieces that really spoke to me was the fact that she had little short poems. So I felt like this was very inspiring, that sometimes she just would put like short, almost like a, quick bullet, if you will, like straight to the heart piece. This one says, Mama prays like she's talking over God. And if God were to talk back, she wouldn't even hear him. So that reminded me, and I underlined that last line, she wouldn't even hear him, is because it reminded me of a quote about prayer. And it says that prayer is talking to God, and meditation is listening. So that's another reason why I like to start this piece off, or this show off, with mindfulness. But that's guided. I'm hoping that sometimes you remember what's good for the soul is to also, when you pray and even when you talk to God, to leave some space for listening if you're not into mindfulness or meditation. Because I heard that so loud and clear. Oh gosh. There is pieces in here that I really love. Now, one thing that's interesting about Jasmine got really famous also because she spoke on topics and celebrities that were deemed untouchable sometimes. And that is Nicki Minaj. And she spoke on Kanye and what she thought about him. I come from that same tradition of maybe not calling folks out all the time, or maybe calling them in. But it is still calling on issues like that where you see leaders and you feel like, wow, are they so it's interesting that Kanye and Kim are divorcing right now, because she has a piece in here about macaroni and cheese and talking about wondering if Kanye misses that, and if Kim could so you just have to read it. I don't want to read all her poems for you. I just want you to think about it. But I love the line in that poem where she says, Ma could count a teaspoon with the lines on her palms, could measure an ocean, and tell you how long it would take to bring to a slow boil. Just the measuring of things and like talking about that was interesting to me. All right, let me get to another piece that seems so timely and divinely timed. Was a piece because I call out, I've called out or called in people who may not think, it's okay. Just the idea of guns as toys. Well, she has this piece, because in my A Woman, A Man piece, I talk about how, it always concerned me a little bit, but there's a piece in here that really speaks. It's called Nerf Guns, Christmas 2019, Tulsa. And there's just lines in here that I thought that were so interesting. And she just paints this picture of these kids playing with these Nerf guns, and how they're not thinking about the history of our people and guns and violence. But I just really was thinking about that one. Another one that I highlighted that I really like too, that took me back, was like when I was growing up, there was churches, in church we would have like these after church, they would have almost like a restaurant. It was like, so she has a piece called the RePass in our own restaurant. So she talks about the women will bring macaroni and cheese to the funeral, right? Fried chicken, peach cobbler, and potato salad and dinner rolls that come wholesale at Costco. A mourning family shouldn't have to cook for them. A A mourning family should not have to cook for themselves. You never let a mother in sorrow fix her own plate. You make her plate first. Give her extra gravy on her mashed potatoes and chickens. Stack her up a real good plate that juices onto her hands. A plate that sogs from the collards. Turn the church basement into a black mama's restaurant. Let the children run, scrambling themselves between the tables. Make the men bring the extra folding chairs from the storage closet. Tell Auntie that the Pepsis are deep, deep in the cooler. Wait on her. Give her a side of rum cake. Take good care of her like she be your favorite customer. So again, she's using the language like it's gold. Black English, I love it. I love how she's painting this picture of so many of us who grew up in the church. We so remember those moments where like it was just like Christmas every time, like every time there was an church anniversary or whatever. But this was a moment of after funerals, and again, given I was going home for a funeral, all this was just hitting home so much. And of course, sure enough, that same picture was painted for me. I don't want to go into so much, but she dedicates a piece to Whitney Houston, which I thought was beautiful, because I still feel like Whitney gave us so much and she got so little back in return. And she talks about Whitney as a hologram, so I thought that was deep. Another one that really stood out for me was another one that I have here. Oh my gosh, where is this one? Ooh-wee. Now listen. This one, monologue, mother yells at insert a name of a Black girl. This one, she broke down almost like it was a play. And this one got me because this was the last one I read like on the day of the funeral. And it made me think of, it really made me think about how I want to, like Shiro's was just the beginning of me like opening up a little bit about my relationship with the mother that raised me. And sometimes the hardest thing to write is about that mother-daughter relationship, or the relationship between a father and a son, because the person is most of the time, a lot of times still here, or you always, sometimes you worry about what other people think. But a lot of people can relate to arguments you've had with a parent. And I want to read this one. This is the last one I want to read because I want you to buy the book. I want you to know that I love the book so much that it's definitely something that I thought worthy enough to just give a review to, because it just takes you home. And it's not Black Girl Call Home, but it speaks of why we don't call home. It also speaks of why you don't always know what home is, and or when you're not always even welcomed at home, but you want to call home anyway. How many people can relate? So yeah, but this piece gets to the protection that sometimes mothers have for daughters. That from my experience, it wasn't always the same as the way a male child was scolded. But this one, Act 1, Scene 1. Mother rants at a child in the kitchen. Daughter sits at a wooden table while her mother stands. Preoccupied with dinner, she stops sporadically to look her daughter in the eyes while she speaks. Daughter does not speak. She gives girlish nods. Don't you know these white folks ain't gotta listen to you, ain't gotta tolerate you, don't gotta like you, don't gotta respect you. Pause. They don't gotta make sure you make it home to me. They don't care that you got a family or a mother to come home to. You think these cops care about me? They don't care about me. Venus, don't you get it? Because I love how she says, insert the name of a Black daughter. So I put my own name in it. And then it has it almost like, she says, mother taps wooden spoon on table. Mother gives rage. This is the mother speaking. You starting to think you worth something, huh, child? You starting to think that you don't die? Starting to think that that they won't hurt you? You ain't nothing but a big fool, a big dumb fool. They ain't scared to kill you. Venus, is that what you want, to be killed? You foolish enough to think that you can talk yourself out of your own death? You want to die? You want me to have to come looking for you? You want me to get a call about you? Mother stops cooking to walk closer to the child. She waves the spoon in her face. Mother, you want to show some officer you smarter than him? That's what this is about? That's what you want? To prove that you are smarter. You want to die for being smarter. Venus. You want to die because you didn't know when to stop. When to close your fucking mouth. You never know when to stop. You don't know how far is too far. They're going to kill your Black ass. Just wait. Keep playing with them police. You hear? They're going to get you. Going to get you good. And I won't be able to protect you. Do you hear me? That mouth going to get you in a whole heap of trouble that your ass won't be able to get out of. You think it's funny. It's not funny. You got one more time, girl. Next time you won't be so lucky. You hear? Woo! Now this one got me because I don't like cursing that much. But I played the lady in green in Tazaki Shange's for Color Girls. And there was a whole lot of cursing in that piece. So I had to get over it. But this right here, I felt like was one of the most appropriate uses of the word fuck I have ever read. Because I read this piece and I was just like, fire, for real, for real. Because this was my lived experience. I mean, growing up too. And if so those of you who have read my Lyrics for Langston book, you know I have a piece in there, a poem called Your Mouth Gonna Write a Check, right? Because my grandma, she would say, your mouth gonna write a check, your behind can't cash. And when I would ask her, now again, she was 100 years old, my mother. I would ask her, I said, can you tell me, because she used to pick cotton. And I said, can you tell me, more about that? Do you remember? And she would always say, I don't remember. Huh. And I would think, trauma sometimes causes us to forget. And when I think about my people, a lot of us are in survival mode. And sometimes it feels like we're at war. So I thought about coming on here today and talking about Juneteenth. I had an opportunity to speak twice this past weekend. Shout out to AACSA in San Jose, an amazing organization that gave me that opportunity. And shout out to my Mosaic America family who will be releasing my Black Lives Matter project. But when I thought about this poem that I just read to you, I also thought about Sandra Bland, and I thought about how so many of you all may not support me. And whenever I'm talking about the systems and things that might seem dangerous, for the same reason why my grandmother also talked to me that way. and made me feel like I needed to be quiet about things that matter. But I did some drumming earlier today, and I there's a quote by Bob Marley, because I don't think she ever thought in 100 years that she would see women. Neither did Jasmine, Mann's mother, right? Think that they would see a time where women were allowed to be seen and not heard, because during her time, it was dangerous. And I know that everything that she did and everything she was saying to me, she was saying it to protect me as well. And I give thanks for that. Because I'm sure my mouth has got me into some trouble and prevented me from things that some might call luxury, but at the same time, I like a quote by Bob Marley, and he says it's better to die fighting for freedom than to be a prisoner all the days of your life. And I'm always going to be that freedom poet. And for me, freedom is sometimes joy is a resistance. It's sometimes also reminding me and myself that I do have a voice. Whoever is saying that, yes, but you have a voice, and that I do have a voice, and I never want it to be stifled. And if I had children, and I have had children that I've worked with as an educator, but if I had children, I would want them to be respectful and to remember to be very choice with their words, but also to remember that how important that their voice is. Black Girl Call Home. I'm telling you, I can't go all into it all the way, but this really moved me so much, this book. And Jasmine, Mann's, I know a lot of celebrity poets because I grew up with, people like Mahogany Brown, Mo Brown. I grew with her. I grew with Sonia Renee Taylor. Shout out to her. I want to maybe review her book. I'm still reading it though. About the body is not an apology, and even grew up with amazing poets that have gone on to New York Times bestsellers. But this one, man, I'm telling you, this one really, I don't know Jasmine personally, but I love this book, and it just really spoke to me on so many levels. So do make sure you check it out. And, I'm still healing, and I really think that I wanted to end with one of my own pieces, because I know there's a lot of y'all come, tune into it because you want to hear more of my work. But I'm going to end with a piece that this book also reminded me of. I was published in a literary journal called Literary Mama. I believe the year was 2015, and it took me back to this because I have one living grandmother left. I was an adopted child, so I have like 3 mothers, and 4 if you count Mother Earth, which I do in poetry sometimes. But this poem is one that I wrote, and Grandma Hazel, I don't know if she would ever listen to this. She's blind, but one day I was with her, and I was I don't want to get too teary-eyed on just thinking about it, but I do need to call her. Speaking of calling home, sometimes home is a person. And me and her, even though we didn't grow up together, or she didn't really raise me, she used to live off of Venice Beach, and I was there spending time with her for a few weeks, and she was trying to teach me how to knit. So this next piece that I'm doing is really a combination. It was a dedication to her, Grandma Hazel, but it was also me thinking of Mother too, Mother Rose. But this piece, my mind went back to it, and it's really a piece that was giving thanks that it was published in Literary Mama, and it's called My Sunset. So if you're on my Instagram page, if you're thinking, why she call her mama like a sunset? Well, that's because of this poem I was thinking of, and I'm going to end with this piece. My Sunset. She's covered in primary colors found in rainbows. On our front porch, she's knitting a quilt to match the sky for fun. Black and gray curls bless her forehead. She scratches her nose where Grandpa first kissed her, then pricks her finger with that curved needle in the process, exposing the depth of her wit and wisdom. and one long lock escapes. Wild strand near her birthmark. She wraps it above the nape of her neck in a frizzy bun. She pricks her finger. All right, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. I got two different versions. Oh, y'all have to forgive me. Wait, let me go back a little bit. Then pricks her finger with that curved needle in the process. She laughs at the pain, exposing the depth of her wit and wisdom. Then one strand escapes like a wild thread near her birthmark. She wraps it in a frizzy bun, right above the nape of her neck. She can tie hair and string up so quickly, faster than most braiders I know. I want her stories to slip through me that way. And she's sharing the secrets of her mother. Crow's feet crowd the corners of her brown eyes like poor people crowd altars and deep lines. She rocks in a noble chair in her golden years. She moves like the ocean waves, back and forth. In between each tug, she leans forward in peace, listening to what I've learned about loops and threads. She smiles and hums. Her soul hums holy hymns daily. She'll wink before she sinks into the earth forever. Well, those are some poems I wanted to share that have been good for my soul lately. And I hope that they do your soul some good as well. My name is Venus Jones, and this has been a review of Black Girl Call Home, a book that has definitely made me feel like I have a whole nother collection as it's all about the mother-daughter relationship coming soon. So thank you for listening. And if there's any topics or books, the other books that you want me to look at, or if there is anybody that you want me to highlight that's good for the soul, do feel free to reach out to me. And I'm always here for you if you are doing your best to write it, recite it, and get highlighted as well. My name is Venus Love Jones, and I do want you to remember to keep looking up and to keep looking out. When you do, there's a lot less fear and a lot less doubt. Don't forget to give me a thumb up. Don't forget to subscribe at venusjones.com and to hit that bell at YouTube. I don't know what else to say except for peace.